We're going to start off with the presentation from the Bergen County Pipes and Drums. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's your point? Okay, right? All right? Quick, mark.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome tonight to this ceremony. I want to thank everybody for showing up, for their friends, relatives. I want to congratulate the three officers get promoted tonight. They're well-deserved their promotions. They're long-time officers in my department. Excellent officers. I can't say anything more about them. Other than that, I'm proud to be their chief. This time I call Captain Skinner up to read the bios.
Should you give me a mic? It's bad when you give me a mic. As director, I've been affiliated with the Township of Washington Police Department for over 49 years now. 41 as a police officer and last 10 active duty as chief. I've worked with every one of these officers. I know them all. Some of them I helped hire. They're all deserving. Just so you know, promotions are not given because you know somebody here anymore. They're given because of their job and how they perform their job functions. As director, I don't make the decision by myself. I look out for these gentlemen in white shirts and I ask them for their input. Then I go to the officers when they're going up from patrolman to sergeant or corporal or detective. I ask their sergeants who they've worked for how they work. And after I get all that input, I make my decision. I promote them, and then I speak to the mayor, and the mayor has to approve the promotions. So that's how it works here in the Township of Washington. We've had no problems working, and I congratulate them all. They all deserve what they're getting. And last time I wasn't here with the other officers, the chief made a little boat mistake. He said, I sent my condolences. What I said was I sent my congratulations to the other officers. And they got promoted the same way. And in this future, there'll be other promotions coming down. But in a small department, you have to wait. So, once again, congratulations. All three deserve it. The officers earlier in the year, I congratulate them too at this time, and they deserve it, especially you, Rich.
Glad our director could be here tonight, and he is alive and well, so thanks for being here, sir. Okay, I was given the distinct honor and privilege tonight to read the bios for these officers. I've known them all since they were hired here. Known Rio Fasciano since we were in the halls of Westwood High School together. So this is really a very special moment for me, and I don't want to drag it on, but these are three of the best police officers that I've had the privilege to work with, so this is a true honor for me. Detective Heather Castronova was appointed to the Washington Township Police Department in 2002. She's currently serving in her 17th year. She is our first female police officer in the Township of Washington. Heather is a former Marine. She was a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, and she was a field radio operator. For the department right now, she serves as our domestic violence liaison. She's a juvenile officer. She's our public information officer, so that means she writes all our press releases. It's a tremendous amount of work. A lot of this work she does in her own time while she's at home. She's a former DARE officer and our current lead officer. If you don't know, we didn't do DARE for a number of years, and we've brought back the LEAD program, and Heather's instrumental in that. More importantly, she manages now our entire community policing unit. If you know me as the captain, as I came up the ranks, I was kind of a one-man show in community policing. I've now turned all that over to Heather. And sometimes when you turn something like a community policing program or junior police academy over, you hope that that officer you're giving it to is gonna give it the best, and they're gonna do it maybe the way you did it. And hands down, Heather has surpassed everything that I've done. She's done just an outstanding job. She also has numerous accommodations through her career. We assigned her to the Detective Bureau on a part-time basis about 7 years ago, and she's done some tremendous work. I think Heather's greatest asset is her ability to network, and that's apparent by all the law enforcement officers that are in the audience tonight. Heather has friends from every department in the county, and even though she was part-time, when things go on, a burglary or something, they're looking for information, we have full-time detectives that are calling Heather to get information from her. So it just shows what a career she's had. So back to her awards. In 2015, she got the Irish Echo Law Enforcement and Law and Order Award. She got an Outstanding Law Enforcement Service Award from the North Jersey Regional Crime Prevention Officers Association. Additionally, in 2009, she was recognized by the town for her work. We had a very large job. Most of these officers, all three in fact, were involved in a weapons seizure from a house where we seized over 60 illegal guns. And Heather was a big part of that, as well as Rio and AJ. She's also the first female member of our town's VFW post, 6192. She does a lot of charity work, right? She coordinated our Relay for Life in 2005 and has stayed with that. You can see the Girl Scouts in the room tonight. Girls, we out there? Wait. All right. So Heather also serves as a Girl Scout leader, and I'm not sure if we're going to call this a big one, but she moderates the Washington Township Moms page, which has been tremendous to us because the Washington Township Moms were big when we were fighting the smoke shop and some other things. And the Washington Township Moms are not afraid to tell us when there's speeding going on or there's something else going on in town that we need to be aware of. We get our intel from the Washington Township Moms group, so thank you. Heather is a longtime township resident. She resides with her husband, Anthony, who's in the audience tonight. He's a Patterson police officer. You've probably seen him on Cops. And also her two children, Gina and Anthony, and I know her mom and dad are also here tonight. So, Detective Castronova, congratulations.
Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully,
and I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of the
and justly perform all the duties of the detective
in the Township of Washington,
in the Township of Washington,
in the County of Bergen,
in the County of Bergen,
in the State of New Jersey,
in the State of New Jersey,
according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
according to the best of my abilities.
Okay, next up is Sergeant Severio Fasciano. I'm just going to call him Rio for short. One thing that Rio's very good at, follows directions. I said, type it nice and big so I can read it without my reading glasses, so thank you. Sergeant Fasciano was a lifelong resident of the Township of Washington. He graduated Westwood High School in 1986 and is college educated. In 1993, he joined the Washington Township Fire Department, and he ascended through the ranks. He was a fire captain, lieutenant, assistant chief, and finally served as chief in 2005 and 2006. He is now a life member of the fire department. Sergeant Fasciano was appointed to the police department in 1998. He's now serving in his 21st year with us. He was assigned to the Detective Bureau for 6 months in 2002. I think he learned a lot in the Bureau. We try to rotate some guys through there. During that time, he worked with the Prosecutor's Office Burglary Task Force, and that was probably some of the best work that we got for him. In 2005, he was promoted to the rank of corporal. He serves as our township's emergency management coordinator. He's our municipal terrorism coordinator. He's an internal affairs investigator. He's an active shooter instructor. He's one of our ASP instructors. He also implemented our community emergency response team known as CERT. So he also runs our CERT program. He manages our swift reach with those messages you get when there's emergencies out there. And he manages the town's emergency operations plan. He's also assigned to the Bergen County Rapid Deployment Team. He trains in incident response to terrorist bombings, suicide bombings. He's attended several classes at New Mexico Tech in these areas. He's received several life-saving and CPR awards throughout his career, and he's received the Bergen County Chiefs Association Life-Saving Medal. He's also received a unit citation for the seizure of the 60 weapons we talked about earlier. You're going to hear that a few times tonight because all 3 officers were involved. He's also a member, as a lot of us are, of the New Jersey Honor Legion. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergeant Fasciano. I know he has some family he just wanted to announce. Who's here?
That was my sister, my aunt, sister, Frank Kite, her husband Anthony, and nephew Grace. Congratulations. I, Severio Fasciano,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully,
and I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of
and justly perform all the duties of sergeant
in the Township of Washington,
in the Township of Washington,
in the County of Bergen,
in the County of Bergen,
in the State of New
in the
Jersey,
State of New Jersey,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Thanks.
Next, we're going to move on to Lieutenant A.J. Pecora. I just realized, though, I'm not sure that we introduced some of the people that are up here on the dais, and I think we should. Councilman Art Cumming.
Hi,
Council,
how are you?
Council President Mike DeSena. So, we actually were going to do this at our last council meeting, and we actually held it so Mike could be here because he requested that. He's been a big support. Thanks, Mike. Mayor Peter Calamari. If you watch the council meetings, you've already met our new borough administrator, Robert Tovo. Lieutenant John Calamari. Our town clerk, Sue Witkowski. All right, and you met the director. So, all right, I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody, let me know you're here, and I'll be happy to announce you. Okay, this is kind of a special one for me. I've known this guy a long time. Lieutenant A.J. Pecora was appointed to the Washington Township Police Department. Look at that. I'm so excited, my eyesight got better. He was appointed to the Washington Township Police Department in 1995. He's currently in his 24th year. He was promoted to corporal in 2000 and to sergeant in 2014. He holds an associate degree and serves as our firearms range master, a firearms investigator. He's an active shooter instructor. In fact, he runs our whole active shooter and tactical program. He's a defensive tactics instructor. We'll talk a little more about that in a minute. He's gone through several courses at Texas A&M. He's certified as a school security assessment officer. He's also an instructor for the incident response and terrorist bombings in New Mexico. Additionally, he attended training at the DEA Academy in Quantico. He pretty much runs all of our tactical stuff. He's assigned to the Bergen County Rapid Deployment Team also, where he served as a squad leader since the inception of the RDT. He's received numerous CPR life-saving awards throughout his career, and he was also instrumental in a weapons seizure in 2009. He's the past president of Pascack Valley, PBA 206. That's quite an accomplishment. You know, he was able to become PBA president before making sergeant, and it was just, he was a great PBA president, so I want to thank him for that. Also, he's a trustee currently on the Pascack Valley local. He's a member of the Knights of Columbus. He's a parishioner at Our Lady of Good Counsel. He's a volunteer for the PBA Toy Drive, which is coming up. We've got a box in headquarters. Come on up, drop your toy. He's also volunteered several years as a coach for the Dragons soccer club. One of the things that makes him a great defensive tactics instructor, he is a first-degree black belt in Akai Jiu-Jitsu. He's a second-degree black belt. Who said that? I got it here, don't worry. Just sit down. Okay, so he is a first-degree black belt in Akai Jiu-Jitsu, a second-degree black belt in Sil Jun Do. He's also a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's been a township resident for 23 years, and tonight he is here with his lovely wife, Jill, and his two beautiful daughters, Vanessa and Mia. Congratulations. Vinny, you got the school post tomorrow.
I, Arsenio Pecora,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully,
and I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of
and justly perform all the duties of Lieutenant of the Police Department
in the Township of Washington,
in the Township of
in
Washington,
the County of Bergen,
in the County of Bergen,
in the State of New Jersey,
in the State of New Jersey,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
So we have a council meeting starting in about 3 minutes, about 5 minutes. So we are going to wrap it up. I do want to thank everybody tonight. You know, first and foremost, I want to thank our brothers and sisters in law enforcement for being here to support us. You know, as cops, we're a fraternal bunch, and it's just nice to see so many of you young men and women out there tonight, and some of the retired cops also that I see. What I really want to do is I want to thank the families of these police officers and the families of all our police officers. You know, the kids are in the audience tonight. You know, we miss some of your birthdays. We miss some of your holidays. But, you know, thanks for letting your mom and dads come here and serve every day and protect us. So how about a little round of applause for the police officer families? All right, so I've been given permission to close tonight's ceremonies. You can go anywhere you want. You can't stay here. Have a good night.
You can stay. It's not that bad. We're not going to.
You might want to stay. It's going to be fun, right?
Welcome to the regularly scheduled public meeting of December 3rd, 2018 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January. And this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Please notify the Township Clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at Mayor and Council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Will everybody please stand at this time for a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Bruno. Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman Cumming.
Here.
Councilman Ullman.
Here.
Council President DeSena.
Here. Reading of the total list of bills, please.
Hold on a second. The following is a list of bills paid since the last bill list was submitted, representing November 16, 2018 through November 30th, 2018. Total 2017 reserve, $20,317.95. Total 2018 current, $122,950.19. Total capital fund, $92,626.20. Total animal control, 0. Total grant fund, $1,724.27. Total trust fund, $10,150 even. Total escrow trust, $45,435.28.
Thank you. Can the record show that Mr. Bruno has joined us? Mr. Bruno. Approval of minutes, July 23rd, 2018 public meeting. August 6, 2018 public meeting, August 6, 2018 conference meeting, September 4th, 2018 public meeting, and September 4th, 2018 conference meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
You will be
have to abstain.
abstaining.
Abstaining.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
At this time, the report of the mayor.
Excuse me, may I just ask, do we have a list of closed sessions that minutes have been taken and either approved, that we've reviewed, and they've been circulated?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Does a list exist of closed sessions where minutes have been taken, if they've been put before the council to approve, if they've been released because the issues have been resolved? Is there any type of tracking on that?
In fact, Attorney Pollard and I were talking about that today. We talked about the 2017. Usually at the end of the year, we put a list together of, and he gets a copy, he goes through, then he advises back of what can be released and what cannot be released. And we're in the process of doing that going forward.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
My apologies.
No worries.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight. Start off with staffing. I'm happy to announce that we have a full-time CFO starting later this month. We look forward to working with her. We have again combined 2 part-time positions into a single full-time employee. That employee will now be filling the positions of Planning and Zoning Board Secretary and the Assistant to the Tax Assessor. Veterans Day. We had a ceremony to honor all veterans, living and deceased. It is held in the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of the year. It was decided to make the number 11 significant to honor the end of World War I, which officially took place on 11/11/1918. If possible, please try to attend future ceremonies to show our living veterans that their service and sacrifice is not forgotten. Our new senior bus has been delivered and will be in service as soon as we get it decaled and permanent license plates. Holiday lighting ceremony. The ceremony was great. We estimate that over 600 people attended. I want to thank our sponsors and everyone on the committee, led by Daisy Velez Mitchell, and as always, the participation of the Fire Department, Ambulance Corps, and Police Department. More decorations and entertainment were added from prior years, and we got Santa to stick around so families could get their pictures taken with him. Santa will also be making his usual appearance throughout the town on our fire truck the evenings of December 14th on the east side and December 15th on the west side. Don't forget to support your fire department by purchasing your Christmas trees, wreaths, roping, grave blankets, and crosses from them. New Jersey League of Municipalities Conference. Many of us attended the annual conference. It's a great opportunity to network with municipal leaders and representatives from other towns, see what new things vendors have to offer, and attend educational classes. Just in time for the upcoming snow season, the DMF recently took delivery of a brand-new heavy-duty pickup truck with a plow. Halloween. We had a great event on Colonial Boulevard, closing a small part of the road so children and their friends and families could safely do their trick-or-treating. About 800 people took part in the event. Again, we thank the Ambulance Corps, Fire Department, and Police Department for offering their support to the event. The committee looks forward to moving the event to different locations in future years. Intersection of Pascack and Washington. We are happy to announce that the owner of the 3 unoccupied houses on Pascack Road is working with the county to tie a commuter parking facility into the redesign of the intersection. We look forward to replacing those houses with a facility that will make our town attractive to people wanting to move and raise their families here and raising property values in the process. The 2018 road resurfacing program has been completed despite Mother Nature throwing many delays at it. Police promotions. I was happy to approve the following promotions at the request of the Chief and Director. Heather Castronova to Detective, Severio Rio Fasciano to Sergeant, and Arsenio A.J. Pecora to Lieutenant. We congratulate them all. Please support the annual PBA Toy Drive by dropping off a new unwrapped toy at the police station to help a family in need during the holiday season. New firehouse and ambulance building. We want to thank Councilman Bruno for reviewing the ordinance that we want to use to fund the next stage of the project to see that it only referred to adding onto the existing building and making other improvements. We have on tonight's agenda the first reading of changing the ordinance to allow us to also use it for new construction. We look forward to keeping this project moving ahead as another way to show our thanks to all the volunteers who dedicate their time and talents to provide these vital services, saving the taxpayers money in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Report of council, Mr. Ullman.
Thank you, Mr. DeSena. I'll be brief. I just want to reiterate Mayor Calamari's comments about Veterans Day. It was a very nice ceremony. Wanted to thank Steve Colwriter and VFW Post 6192 for running the event. It's a little bittersweet because quite a few of the veterans are aging, and we see fewer and fewer there. And in addition, we have some new veterans who are coming on following our extended involvement in the Middle East and in Afghanistan. So thanks to them for their service. I did want to also note that this Friday is December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. It seems 9/11 is fresher in our minds, but we should not forget December 7th as well. The only other thing I did want to bring up, and I see that it's been handed out, I didn't have a chance to get it for the agenda, but I did want to bring it to everyone's attention. There is a excerpt from the Township of Wayne, their code regarding the appointment of members to the police force as well as promotions of members of the police force. I had asked verbally a couple of times as well as in writing to the mayor to understand what the process is that is undertaken by the chief of police as well as the director of the police, and was not provided with a reply. So I'm providing this to you. I would ask that everyone look at it, and I think it should be something that we should look at and consider. My understanding, based on a discussion that took place at a PBA contract negotiation meeting, is that this is within the scope of the council. The Township of Wayne has a similar structure or government, and it's something that we could consider. And, I think that is something that is worth considering. So you have it, and perhaps next meeting, I'll get to Sue and we'll get to add it as a item for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holm. Mr. Cumming?
I had the pleasure recently of going through the firehouses and troubleshooting some of the problems that had occurred with the overhead lights in the bays. The lighting is apparently much improved, and I believe we're taking care of the problems that ensued with some breakage of a lock and so on. It appears to me that, and from comments I've heard, that the lighting is much improved in there, and it's all LED and energy saving, and we're looking forward to that. I also recently went through the whole library complex with an engineer from Wildan Energy Services and Laura Rifkin, the director of the library, and we saw how much the lighting had been improved, and they have a brand new heating system, a huge lock and bar, high quality, digitally controlled boiler that will save them a fortune. We're thrilled, and we're about to go into the third part and do this building with LEDs and mechanicals. So that's one of the main projects I've been working on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cumming. And congratulations on your daughter's promotion.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Bruno?
Yeah, I actually don't have anything to report other than it's a nice time of the year, and wish everybody all the best, and enjoy your families, enjoy your friends. There's a lot of craziness that goes on in this world, so enjoy and be healthy.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno. Dr. Cassio?
The President 41 passed away on Friday, and I hope you keep him in your memory. He was a good servant, a good public servant, and I'm sure he'll be remembered in history as a great president, even though he was for one term. On a lighter note, I had the opportunity to go to the League of Municipalities down in Atlantic City, and they had a little contest down there. Hate to bring up what type of contest it was, but it was one of those pong contests that the kids play for their drinking entertainment. Unfortunately, apparently I was very good at it sometime, and I won the town a makeover of our basketball court down at Memorial Field.
Okay.
So they're going to come, take a look at it, and they're going to resurface it for us.
Oh, great.
They're going to train our people how to put the product on, so I'll get you more information on that. I never used to win before, but apparently when there's nothing on the line, I guess I do pretty well.
Thank you for your expertise.
There you go. But, and again, have a great holiday season.
Thank you, Dr. Cassio.
Probably not as good as you can.
If you want to have a rematch.
I'll keep it short. It was a pleasure to attend the holiday celebration. Thank you to the committee for doing an excellent job. I can tell you my 5-year-old enjoyed seeing Rudolph and Santa and the fire trucks and the new lights in front of the building. It looks great. The police promotion celebration was an honor to attend. I appreciate them waiting for me to get home from Disney World. 2 other things, the leaves, I apologize to the residents, but we're having a hard time keeping up with them. It's on our list of discussion later on. We're trying, and hopefully we'll get it picked up before the first real snowfall. The last thing I have is the engineer's report, Mr. Mayor. Would it be possible to ask Mr. Azzolino to prepare a report every month for us to review?
Monthly? Sure.
Of all the projects, of all the escrows that come in, and when they're received and when they're finalized, so people aren't waiting for their permits?
Yes, that's one of the things we hope to put the new CFO on right away to keep
Thank
track
you.
of those things. Yep.
That's all I have. Do I have a motion to open the meeting up to public discussion?
So moved.
Second?
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Cassio?
Yes.
Councilman Cummings?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. If anybody would like to come up and address the council at this time, Mrs. Osmond's standing already, so.
Mary Ann Osmond, 960 Adams Place. Thank you, Mr. DeSena, for bringing up subject number 1, the leaves. I live in the first zone, and October 29th was the first day, and I know it's not the town's fault. I know that the leaves weren't down October 29th. I think we were about 5 down. And they picked up the 5, but, you know. And now it's December 3rd, and they haven't come back yet. Now, they are in our area, and I know they'll be back, but Thanksgiving was a disaster. And all I'm asking for, everybody trusted at the DMF and you know, how they work hard. And I know they work very hard. I worked with most of them for many, many years. But one of the things the DMF likes more than anything, you know, people said, well, you know, we should give them this free party. And I'm not sure the DMF were actually invited, all of the members to the party, but that's a different subject. But I will say that overtime, and I'm sure this council will give the overtime at this point because we are so backlogged.
They worked yesterday.
Well, I'm talking every day an hour. Do you know what incentive that is, every day an hour? And you have that hour and you're working.
They have been working every day.
Every day?
Yes, Mr. Tovo, is that correct?
At least one crew's been out every day, yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank God for that. And on Saturday all day?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
They worked Sunday all day yesterday, right, Mr. Tovo?
Correct.
I think they'll probably think you're the best guys in the whole world. Because if in nothing, that's what they really like the best. They like their overtime. They always have. And anytime the overtime was ever cut from them for, you know, things of this nature, they work just as hard, but, you know, it's the incentive is there. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm glad I know that. So I'm sure that they'll probably be back once now and one more time because so many of the people have not.
We are
done their
reviewing the
yards.
operations with the mayor and Mr. Tovo.
Okay.
And we hope to have a better system in place for next year.
Thank you, because you did ask.
It is
The
a
council
horrific-
did ask if they had enough equipment and enough, you did ask, and you were told yes. And you know, this is no one's fault, but it's just very difficult to drive up and down the streets and see what's happening. I had mentioned about the Christmas party, and you know, a lot of people say, well, people deserve, yeah, maybe volunteers do, and I'm not going to debate this issue, it doesn't really matter. All I know is I talked to a few other towns, and I also talked to a county person who works for the county, and they pay $40 to go to their Christmas party. And, you know, just like a lot of other towns do, they have a breakfast, they have a lunch. You know, that's one thing to do it in-house, but to go to a Seasons restaurant, especially since Seasons may have an application in front of the boards, I don't think it's the best idea that there is. One thing that I do have to talk about is they have a new secretary for planning and zoning. I haven't met the lady yet, which is fine. But on November 27th, I got a message that said that the meeting for December the 18th was canceled due to a lack of an application. Well, the secretary cannot cancel a meeting unless it's 10 days before the meeting is scheduled.
That's something you need to discuss with the planning board.
Okay, well, zoning board.
Zoning board, excuse me.
Well, yeah, but this is something, all right, that,
You should discuss that with the chairman of the zoning board. I believe you're on that board, correct?
yes, I am. It's just that we shouldn't have received something of that
I
nature.
understand that, but that's something to discuss with the chairman.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Osmond.
Oh, one other thing. It would have been nice if the residents all knew. I mean, I saw in the paper that the police were all promoted, but the residents didn't know about this 7 o'clock meeting. It seems very strange that the residents wouldn't be,
It was on Facebook, it was on the meeting.
it was on where?
It was on Facebook. Oh, it was on,
Don't say it wasn't.
it wasn't a meeting, it was just a ceremony.
Oh, okay, but the last time they were promoted a few months ago, they came here to the council meeting.
They chose to have a ceremony tonight.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs. Osmond.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, Mike, so we invited everyone from DNMF to the party, right?
Yes, we did.
Everybody from the DMF has been,
And from the police?
Yes.
every department.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, everybody. The
Everybody.
fire and the ambulance. Okay, thank you.
No, fire and
Fire and
ambulance,
ambulance,
no.
just the officers.
Well,
Just the
there
officers.
are- oh, wait, there are volunteers, just as everybody else is. You invited some of the firemen, and you invited some of the ambulance corps.
Just the officers.
You're still volunteers. Every other person.
They have their own parties.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Marie Gozell, 464 Van Emberg Ave. Just a continuation on the leaf problem. Our leaves haven't been picked up. And the issue that I have, and I understand, I'm not the only one, but we're on a 25-mile-an-hour speed street. Well, the trucks come a little bit faster than that. So all the leaves, and I can't put my leaves in the street like other people can, so I have it on my property, on my grass that is now dead. But the leaves come back to me because the trucks come so fast and the cars come so fast. And it's just annoying. I understand that you're working on the problem. I did see a couple police cars. I saw two that actually stopped somebody. But we need a little bit more enforcement on the street, and especially with the school. So, again, that's my gripe.
Well, thank you.
Mr. President, would you like me to answer that?
Sure, Mr. Tova.
We did meet with the police on Van Emberg last week, and we've come up with a plan for both signage and enforcement. So we look to see that problem being resolved sometime shortly. And your leaf issue, you're in Zone 2. We anticipate you being finished by the 12th of December.
You have to come up to the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Usually in past years, I've had the leaves picked up twice already. I haven't.
Well, believe it or not, Council President, up until last week, had no leaf pickup.
Right.
0 times.
Right.
So,
We don't discriminate or show favoritism.
we don't show discrimination. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Mayor. So on Beach Street, the residents of Beach Street had 0 pickups until last week.
Okay, but you're allowed to put in the street.
Yeah, but my street gets narrower than your street once this
Oh, no,
happens.
I know. In Hampshire, I was going up.
Yeah, it's
and
bad.
half the leaves are, in most of the street. You have a little narrow part, which I don't think that's right either. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Sir? State your name and address, please.
Okay, Dr. Jermaga, 448 Prospect Avenue, Washington Township. Just as a quick...
Your address again, I'm sorry?
Your address?
448 Prospect Avenue.
Could you sit down and talk into the microphone for me, please? I'm sorry.
448 Prospect Avenue.
Thank you.
You should know me. I was complaining. For 10 years, I was complaining. That's the reason that I came here today, because today I'm not going to complain. I just want to show my appreciation to the mayor. The previous, as a quick reminder, we were dealing with the municipal sewer system failure since 2005, and this problem couldn't be solved for 13 years. The previous mayor, at least, was kind of unwilling to do so. And this mayor, Mayor Calamari, when he took his office within the first year, he understands our needs, he understands our problems, and he shows passion and interest to help his residents, and because of us, that means in also the township. And he solved the problem. We came to the conclusion. It didn't take 20 meetings to do nothing, just 2 meetings, and we came to the conclusion to do something, and we agreed to do certain things. I hope this is going to work. And finally, I'm kind of relieved from stress, because that was really stressful situation, health hazard, etc. And just want to say big thank you, Mayor. You are a mayor and you act as a mayor.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir.
I appreciate
I
that.
appreciate
And
that,
also, the council deserves thank you also, because
Yes,
they
of
approved the
course,
money for us to be able to do it, so
That
team
was my
effort.
kind of duty to, because I was complaining about this because I was frustrated, and you kind of understand that.
It was a
So
serious
this is
health
my
issue.
duty
Thank
to
you.
come and to publicly say thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jargan. Would anybody else like to come up and address the council at this time? Seeing no one, do I have a motion to close the public discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Ordinance adoption, second reading. Ordinance number 18-16, an ordinance of the Township of Washington, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey, revising, amending, and/or supplementing the Code of the Township of Washington by adding a new Chapter 212 fees. Resolution number 18-343, authorizing second reading and opening a public hearing for ordinance 18-16. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bruno?
No.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Councilman Oman?
It's quite all right.
I'm sorry.
Can I vote now?
Yes, please, I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Would anybody like to discuss resolution number 13-343, authorizing second reading of ordinance 18-16? Seeing no one, do I have a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance 18-16?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 18-16 at second reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
No.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Ordinance number 18-17, an ordinance revising the regulation of open burning in the Township of Washington. Resolution number 18-344, authorizing second reading and opening a public hearing for ordinance 18-17. Do I have a motion to open?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Would anybody like to come up from the public for ordinance 18-17? Yes, Mrs. Osmond.
Mary Ann Osmond, 960
You have to come up to the
Adams.
microphone.
I talk loud enough.
I need
All
you.
I'm asking is one thing. Could you explain exactly what this ordinance does and doesn't allow residents to do?
Mr. Pollard, can you?
Well, it allows you to use, to have open burning of like chimeneas and things outside, which before you weren't.
I have a
able-
fire pit.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that.
Okay, so-
Before,
It was prohibited.
even though you did it, it was prohibited under the ordinance, but now it's not going to be prohibited.
Okay, that's what I really want people to really hear, exactly what they allowed, because it looks like people say, oh, you can't do anything, you're gonna blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's all. I just want to hear what it means.
Would anybody else like to come up and discuss ordinance 18-17? Seeing no one, do I have a motion to close public hearing for ordinance 18-17?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 18-17 at second reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Ordinance number 18-18, an ordinance under Chapter 55 of the Code of the Township of Washington, setting forth the rate of clothing allowance of officers and firefighters of the fire department in said municipality for the year 2018. Resolution number 18-345, authorizing second reading and opening a public hearing for ordinance 18-18. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. It's all right.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Would anybody like to come up from the public for ordinance 18-18? Seeing no one, do I have a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance 18-18?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number
Can I get to
18-18
vote?
at second reading by title.
Did you do
Oh,
Mr.
sorry, did I
Cumming?
miss you? Councilman Cumming, I'm sorry.
I'm small, but that's ridiculous.
I'm so sorry.
She's multitasking and it's not working.
I think there's something there that I have to get. I'm sorry.
Mr. Cumming is a yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes. Yes, please.
Thank you.
I think you gotta do it all in order again.
Hold on a second.
Height order.
Hold on a second. Something in the kitchen. I'm sorry. Councilman Bruno, let's do this again. Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes.
My apologies.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 18-18 at second reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Resolution number 18, do we do in the emergency?
Yeah, you are.
I don't have any other data.
That's
Oh, that's what she's doing, huh?
That's what I was just looking for.
What's,
Here we go.
do we have to introduce it before we can
I gotta
discuss it?
get the rest of the.
Here you go. So sorry.
Resolution number 18-346, an emergency resolution providing that an ordinance may take effect less than 20 days after final passage and approval if the Township Council shall adopt a resolution declaring an emergency and at least 2/3 of all members of the Township Council vote in favor of such resolution. Do we have a motion to, for resolution ordinance number 18-18?
Which ordinance is that?
Resolution number 18-345 for the clothing allowance. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Before we vote, so why is this an emergent issue? And I understand it's not an emergency from a life and death, but it's an emergent condition because we want this paid. Why, I guess I'm trying to understand, if we knew this was on the horizon, why is it an emergent condition in front of us now?
Do you want to answer? Well, if you don't mind. We did have a conversation, it was brought up why it was done at this time of year, and it is a little later than previous years. Last year it was in August, I believe the year before it was in July, and Councilman Bruno had asked if we couldn't do it in the beginning of the year, and I had a conversation with the treasurer today, and October 31st, I believe, is your end of year for the fire department, so therefore they have to wait until at least October to do the official paying out of it, and because you have to make sure that you have acquired your
Credits.
points or credits for your clothing allowance. However, I would like to make sure that this ordinance is done like in July and in place in August, so that when it comes time to do this, it's just simple.
So
It can be paid out.
if this is not passed this evening, what is the impact?
It's December 3rd, the end of the year, and they look for the clothing allowance.
When did it get paid?
They'll get paid after this. If you pass this emergency resolution, Joy can do the paperwork
No, if they
tomorrow.
don't, if we don't.
If they don't, then you have to wait until 20 days after it's published. So like 25 days from now. We realized it was a bookkeeping error and it will not happen next year. But with the change of helm, we slipped.
Yeah, I think my point was that when we prepared the budget, we budgeted the money, but we didn't do an ordinance until now. So if we're going to do a budget in April, March, April, with an amount, then we
That's why I
need,
said
we
July,
need
we
to
can
have,
introduce it
we
or-
need to have a night,
Yes.
why July though? Why
Or
not?
we can do it in May, whenever.
I mean, if we're approving the money, because then we have to go back and figure out what we did, which who knows at that point.
I would agree, because we can approve it, and when the fire department comes to us with their accounting of credits, it can be paid immediately.
Can we put this into the April
We're
jacket,
not-
so this way it's approved in April?
I mean,
Is that
we're
okay,
not doing,
Tony?
yeah.
I know it's an emergency this
Or do you
year.
want to maybe do it when the budget is adopted? Do you want to do it at the same time the budget is adopted?
We could do it then.
maybe?
That's fine, I
As soon as we
mean,
pass the amount.
I mean, we're not going to pay it until we receive
The
a
the
credit,
report,
an accounting of credits from the fire department. So it's on the books, it's funded, they give us a list, and Joy can
And we're done.
pay it.
No worries. Thank you.
So it's been motioned and seconded, the emergency resolution, we need roll call.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 18-19, an ordinance revising the penalties to be assessed for violations of Chapter 330 of the Code of the Township of Washington, parking regulations. Resolution number 18-347, authorizing second reading and opening a public hearing for ordinance 18-19. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Would anybody like to come up and address ordinance 18-19? Yes.
Marie Gazelle, 464 Van Emberg. I live right across the street from the Viviano property, and I noticed that there's a dump truck back there that's been there for I don't know how long. It looks like there's a school bus, an old school bus parked there, and I don't know what else. What type of violations is he being assessed for?
None until this
None.
ordinance was just passed, so.
Oh, okay.
You can now reach out to the code enforcement officer and ask him and file a complaint.
Okay, and his name is John?
Joe Sedicate. Joe
John.
Sedicate.
Okay, thank you.
Would anybody else like to come up and address ordinance 18-19? Seeing no one, do I have a motion to close the public hearing for ordinance 18-19?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 18-19 at second reading by title. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Introduction, first reading, an ordinance number 18-20, an ordinance authorizing the identification of abandoned properties and the establishment of an abandoned property list within the Township of Washington. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 18-20 at first reading by title. Do I have a mo-
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Resolution number 18-348, authorizing publication of ordinance number 18-20 and schedule of a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes.
I just have a question on this. Are these fines, are they, I don't know the right word, criminal in nature? I mean, how are these assessed? And does this collection of these fines, tracking of these fines, is there any burden placed on the tax department or the building office,
It's placed on Joe Sedicase's office.
Joe said? He's responsible for writing these fees.
And making sure as they progress and they continue to send out the monthly summons and whatever he needs to do. So it's really our code enforcement officer's responsibility, this whole Right, Mr. Tova?
Correct.
Mr. Powell?
And then the court takes over if
After-
the fine is not paid.
Yes.
And a warrant is sworn out against the property owner.
Or the
which
bank.
is good throughout the United States, or the bank.
Or the bank.
Okay.
Or the lien holder of the property,
Exactly.
if it's not a bank.
And
Go ahead, Mike.
if we were to, we had the issue on, I think it was School Street, where we either hired a outside contractor or we had town employees do maintenance. That is or is not captured in this ordinance.
That would have been captured because now they would be on the abandoned list.
So again, I go back, if we're going to be creating liens and we're putting liens against houses, that is all in the zoning officer's department. There's no tax, there's no.
No, the tax
CFO?
department does get involved because it gets filed, it gets approved, and then it gets filed with the tax office.
And the
It's
lien
got-
gets filed against the property,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
It's
like
filed
tax-
with the taxes, as
Yeah,
a
it's part of
tax.
the- Yeah, it's part of the taxes.
So the tax bill goes up by that amount, and it's due as
Well,
interest.
there's a lien.
With the interest there.
It's another
not a-
lien,
It's another
like a
lien,
tax
it's another
lien.
Okay, so it is, there is work for the tax department.
Yes.
Not, okay.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
my other question.
I misunderstood.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yes, Bob?
May I go back to 18-19 for just 1 second? Because the woman brought up a point, and her point was, what violations is the Viviano property being assessed for having these?
We're not the code enforcement officer,
No,
so
but hold on a minute.
once she files a complaint, he will determine what the violation
Right,
is.
But I just want to make it clear, I mean, you had said now that we have this in place, we can do it, but we've always had an ordinance to go after people like this,
So, Mr. Bruno, the ordinance we had was, if you had an illegal vehicle in your driveway or on your property, you were fined $50 for the offense. So it's cheaper to pay the summons of $50 per month than to find a parking space for it. So now with these compounding
Yep,
fees, this is going to start to accumulate a lot more than it did.
I
And it will
understand.
force the issue and give him some power to have the vehicles
I understand,
removed.
I get the whole point, but I guess the question that was asked was, what has he been assessed so far, even if it's $50?
I can't answer that. We have to ask Mr. Sedekis that question. That's
Okay,
fine.
so, but it's not that we don't have this in place, we had something, it was a low amount.
Yeah, but until somebody calls in the
I understand,
Viviano
but I'm saying
complaint,
probably nothing's been done with his property.
I will ask.
Okay.
I can see if I can get something.
Because we would know
That's
if there
fine.
was something
I
done.
know there was something there,
To
but-
help, to the lady's point.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
but she should, if she's upset about it, she should file a complaint. This way we know it's being addressed.
The current one.
The current one, yes. Moving on, ordinance number 18-21, ordinance amending a bond ordinance of the Township of Washington and the County of Bergen, New Jersey, heretofore adopted on May 22nd, 2017, number 17-04. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 18-21 at first reading by title. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Can I second?
You can do it.
I'll second.
Councilman Bruno?
When do we have discussion? After we,
After we have to introduce it first.
okay.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Mr. Bruno, you had a comment?
So, I see that we revised it, which is more in line with what we're doing. But I thought, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I thought you had asked us at a straw poll that we were to give our opinion, and I thought it was somewhere around the $700,000 number versus $986,000. I don't have that in front of me, but I think when you said, what do you guys think, I thought it was 7 and change versus 9 and change.
Where is it?
When we did we just went around to the council and said, what do you think, and it pertained to this ordinance, the old one. I thought it was 700,000 that you had asked us to see whether we would agree on or not agree on versus the 986.
The 986 is what was put in that ordinance last year to spend on things. What we asked for
this time, and what brought up seeing the error was, I believe, 386 or 396,000.
Just under 400,000, Mr. Blue.
To undertake the engineering part of...
Architectural engineering.
Yes, sorry, architect and maybe some engineering part of
The fire.
of taking it to the next phase.
So then what's the other, so 396 against the 986?
Correct.
So then there's another 486 in round numbers that we're putting in here for some reason?
Well, it was put in last year when the ordinance was passed originally.
For a whole, but that was a different project.
That was the estimate, I believe, at the time, to add an additional bay and do those other improvements that were stated in the ordinance.
No, I understand, but I'm just trying to...
Would be lightly involved, but they would be doing the engineering function.
And does the 5.9 include the demolition of the red house?
No, it
does not.
Does it include any site work? You know, the rear retaining wall that collapsed a few years ago was repaired. Does it contemplate replacing that?
Yes.
And that's part of this 5.9?
5.9 million is included. Because the back wall of the firehouse, which is acting as the retaining wall, comes, except for where it was repaired, Mr. Allman, is coming down, and it's going to be replaced.
I just think it's difficult tracking 986 when we're looking at 400. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't do 450 and then do another ordinance for, as it comes up, for other amounts. I mean, this is kind of an open checkbook here for 986,000, the way I look at it.
Well, I wouldn't call it an open checkbook necessarily. I believe the council still has a say on any contract that would come up to spend that additional money, so it's not necessarily an open check, I don't believe.
Well, it's a 600 more than what we're asking for now, so. Anyway, that's my opinion. No, I just think it should be buttoned up, but go on, Sue.
Okay. Anybody from the public like to address ordinance number 18-21 at this time?
No,
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
First reading.
I'm sorry, my blood pressure's up.
You need a vacation.
I just had a 9-day vacation.
You need a vacation from the vacation.
Yeah, resolution number 18-349, authorizing publication of ordinance number 18-21 and schedule a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
No.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
No.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Ordinance number 18-22, an ordinance providing for criminal history background checks for adults involved with youth programs within the Township of Washington. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 18-22 at first reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. I'd like to make a statement about resolution number, ordinance number 18-22. I'm embarrassed by the lack of inaction by our prior administrator. I asked for this in January when I was put on this dais. Washington Township Baseball has been doing criminal history background checks on every single volunteer since its inception. That was requirement by Little League. And for our town rec to be not performing something civil, a quick little criminal history background check on all our volunteers is a disservice to our parents and our children in our programs. And I'm thankful that it finally took almost 12 months to get this approved, but it's something that needs to be done. Thank you for Mr. Tovo's time to get this finally moving. Resolution number 18-350, authorizing publication of ordinance number 18-22 and schedule a public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Individual resolutions, resolution 18-351, authorize 2018 transfer of appropriations. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a question?
Sure, Mr. Bruno.
Where is the 15 going to? It says financial services fees.
Mr. Tovo, do you have an answer for
What
that?
budget code is that?
Yeah, the money's being transferred from the chief financial officer, which, as you know, has been largely unfilled in a full-time capacity this year, and being moved to financial services, where we can utilize our financial services consultant to kind of help us close out 2018. Our CFO is not starting until the 17th, so we may need some extra help during that time frame.
So this is going to Vince Lerchi?
Some of it will, yes.
Some of it? To what, close the books? Do you have a
We're
contract?
still waiting for a number from him.
Do we
that
have a
allocate-
contract from him?
What's that?
Do we have a contract from him, what he's going to do for 15,000?
We have a general contract with him. We're getting a proposal from him to help us close out the year, which will be below that number, but I'm not sure exactly what the number is yet.
And our new person is not going to be involved in the closing of the books?
They will be involved, at least in part, but they're not going to be here until the 17th of December. So we need to get that in motion prior to that date.
Does this put them over, isn't there a dollar threshold at some point for professional services? Don't they have to meet some reporting threshold or approval threshold? Isn't it over like 17K, 17.5?
Well, professional service can go over that amount because it is exempt from that threshold because of the professional service contract. But any contract should not exceed $100,000 without approval of council or an emergency appropriation.
I thought it was 17,000. We were always told that...
Not if it's professional services.
I think any contract, Mike. I don't think it's professional services.
No, because our engineer doesn't have to, engineer, account, financial, it's exempt from that because they're professionals. We have a pay-to-play professional services agreement with them.
So how much do we plan on spending for Lurch Vinci? Close the books again.
Well, as I said, we don't have a proposal from them yet. I don't imagine it'll be all that much. We've done a lot of the work on our own. Our new CFO can do a lot of it as well, but nothing, we can't have anything fall through the gaps here.
And our new CFO, during her interview, said she will close the books next year when she's here for the full year. Correct? Correct.
Yeah, I'm very confident next year we'll have a nice soft landing, but this year we have to
She's
make
coming
it.
in the 17th, so it's kind of late.
It is.
Do they have to, is it calendar year it has to be closed out by?
We have to do a rollover from 2018 to 19, so that does require some expertise to do so.
But the question is, does it have to be done by the
That rollover must be done.
12/31?
Now, the rollover is always extended way past December 31, just so you know, Bob. We've never been current with the rollovers, and it's always been a pet peeve up here because we never know when we close our books, just for your history
Well,
purposes.
no, I do realize there are dates that we have set, there's dates that we would like to achieve, and the state does move those dates. I don't think we should move those dates.
I've been full in agreement with that for years. But we always...
So this is all, this is kind of a, this is a cushion for you to make sure we close on that date, is what you're saying, to get Lurch and Vinci involved to make sure we meet.
Correct.
So you're asking for 15, but you're saying it's going to be under that once.
Correct.
But my question is, statutorily, does it have to be closed by midnight on the 31st of December?
No.
Okay.
No, you can't close the books, Steve, until subsequent...
I got the answer I was looking for.
Well, you have to close subsequent to the month so you can close out your books and records.
Okay.
Roll call?
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
No.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
No.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Consent agenda. All the following items have been determined to have the unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Resolution 18-352, authorize cancellation of general capital grant receivables and improvement authorization. Resolution 18-353, authorize awareness regional program, HARP, of Hackensack University Medical Center for the year 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
So may I ask a question? On the cancellation of this receivable, are we taking it from, is there a cash impact here? Or is this just a bookkeeping entry? Are we taking it from funds that we've, unused funded amounts to write it off? Like we did in the past? You can get back to me on it. In the past, we wrote off $280,000 of a grant receivable, and we took it from a funded amount, unfunded, used. So I want to know if we're going to use cash for this, because that's another tack on to what we've already written off over the last year or so.
I'll get back to you on that.
Thank you. So I'll pull it.
And is there a reason why they're not the same balance? Is this supposed to be an entry, or is this, one is 255K, one's 368K? And it says, Township's general capital fund and have been deemed no longer collectible or available. What did we have a receivable for 255K for that we couldn't find a job, we couldn't find something to do with?
All I can tell you is that money under 0609, or that this ordinance, was for stormwater drains and culverts. So I don't know what work was or was not done.
Understood. Mr. Tova, I appreciate that.
Can we pull 18-352?
Well,
Gentlemen?
yeah, I asked for it to be pulled.
Yes. So Mr. Bruno's asked for it to be pulled. Is everybody okay with that?
For further information?
For further information?
Yeah, I'm good with following.
So we're going to pull Resolution 18-352 as per Mr. Bruno and get more information from Mr. Tovo for the next meeting. So we want to continue with the 18-353, the HARP program with Hackensack University Medical Center for the year 2019. We have a motion and a second. Do we roll call?
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cummings?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Adjournment to conference agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cummings?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Township Council will be on Monday, December 17th, beginning at 7:30 p.m. We take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back and start conference agenda.
Okie dokie.
December 3rd, 2018. Under current business, I have a request that we revisit Resolution 18-351, the authorization of the 2018 transfer of appropriations. We did not have a affirmative vote on that. It's going to affect closing the books for the end of the year. So maybe we can reconsider. I know Dr. Casio has a question regarding it. You can ask that now, Dr. Casio.
Yeah, we're talking, my concern with the transfer is the financial services fee for closing out the books for the year. And talking to Mr. Tovo, he said there's no legal requirement to do it by the 31st of December. If we're having the CFO come on board, and there's no legal rush to get it done by the end of the year, I don't see why we're spending the $15,000
Well, it's up to $15,000.
up to $15,000, the possibility of up to $15,000 to transfer that money over. I just don't see the need for it personally. And that's why I voted no. I mean, being on this council for 8+ years, a lot of things that are statutorily dictated we haven't filed, not to say that's the way it should be, but this one hasn't been followed in eons, and there is no statutory thing on the book that says this has to be done. So if we're having a new CFO come on to do this work, let her do the work. I don't think we have to sub it out for an extra $15,000. That was my point. And that's really where I stand. I mean, if you think there's a better reason, if someone could persuade me why I should change my mind, I'll listen. But at this point, I don't see that being an issue to
Mr.
do
Tobo,
this.
could you address that?
I do. I certainly don't argue with Mr. Cassio's point that it has not been done, and there is no requirement to ensure that we get it done. I look from the perspective, we have two different functions going on. Number one, properly closing out 2018, and making sure that 2019 is on track in the manner in which it should be. The mayor and I have discussed this. We feel that having the assistance of Merch Vinci to close out 18 and allow the new CFO to focus on the 19 budget, along with the mayor and I, would be the most advantageous way for us to accomplish both missions. As far as the additional money, I have to argue that it's not really additional money. This money would have gone to the CFO that was serving in more of a full-time capacity than what we had become accustomed to. So it's really right pocket, left pocket, not...
The money is there already. It's
The
not like
money's
we're
there.
moving it as an emergency, like we got to find 15,000.
Correct. This could have been accomplished without a transfer at all. But I felt we wanted to be, I felt we should be transparent with council, transfer the money, have the discussion as to why we're doing it.
What was our original budget for this amount? We had an amount we put in originally.
CFO was 75,000
No,
and
the financial services, we had a budget for that.
I have to check that again. It was less than the 75. I think it was around the 40,000 range.
No, that's way too high. The Lurch Vinci fees were not, we put an amount in for Lurch Vinci at the budget. I don't have it in front of me, but it was, I don't know what it was, 10,000?
I believe
it was also about 15, but
It was, I believe it was 17,
yeah,
and again,
in the teens.
I wish I was a little more knowledgeable on it, and I'll look it up, but they came in just below a threshold regarding either sourcing, disclosure. I don't know what the threshold is, but I found it ironic that they came in just below that, and now we're transferring another 15, which in my mind puts them over that threshold. So I would like to,
Ken, can you speak to the
research
threshold?
that.
I don't know what threshold they mean. I mean, you're talking about pay for play, it's 17.5, they just have to file, they have to file the papers.
Which they do every year.
Which they did. So that was the threshold that
But they're exempt from that threshold as long
they're
as
not
they have
limited,
a professional services.
Professional service just means you don't have to go out for bid.
Correct, but there's
Yeah,
no
there's no bid limit.
There's no bid limit for
there's no bid
professional
limit.
services.
Correct, that's correct.
I've built municipalities in the millions
That's
for
correct,
years. And
right. It just means that if it's over 17.5, you got to file the paperwork.
Correct.
If it's,
And if I can just echo what Bob said, we really want to hit 2019, in good shape. We don't want to bog the CFO down necessarily with closing the year out. Although, she could do it, but it'll stop her from doing other work that we need to get the 2019 budget and house in order, so we get that to council on time also. So I would just
Mr.
add
Toba,
that to what Bob said.
From all the discussions you're having, you're still anticipating the council having a budget by January 15th?
I am.
Thank you. Does that alleviate anybody's concern with the new CFO? Mr. Tobo and I have been talking for the past month about the statutory of having the budget to the council by January 15th, and he feels he will have our budget for probably the first time in, as Dr. Cassio said, in a long time to us by the 15th of January. And the mayor will have
I'll go out on a
it.
limb and say, probably Steve, since you've been on the council almost.
And looking back in the history, for numerous years prior, it was never done statutorily by January.
So I think the intent here is to move the 15,000 so the new CFO is not bogged down by the additional work of having a month to complete the budget for us, well, the preliminary budget, and close out 18 in a proper fashion.
So who's doing the budget? Because in the years that I've been here, and I've always been saying we should have a CFO involved in the budget, I was told year after year after year that the mayor and the administrator does the budget, and the CFO is not really involved in the budget. So we say now the CFO is going to be involved in the budget, preparing the budget?
Yes, we are.
Well, what's the extent of her involvement?
as much as we need her to.
Well, I find
Get done.
ironic that anybody would say that the CFO is not involved with the budget. Certainly, the mayor sets the direction for the budget.
Heretofore, it hasn't been that way.
Remember, the CFO's job to manage the budget during the course of the year at the direction of the mayor and the administrator. So for that person to not be involved would not be prudent.
Right.
We need their expertise and their advice so that it functions the way that it should.
Yeah, and we present a good, solid budget to the council.
I don't disagree with you. I've been asking for that for years, but it's just never been done. And I was always told different.
I'm hopeful that we're going to be pleasantly surprised this year, Bob.
All right, that's fine.
So can I have a motion to, for Resolution 18-351, authorize 2018 transfer of appropriations again? Anyone?
So moved.
I'll second it. Do we have a roll call again?
And I have to say no, but, okay. So you're redoing the roll call?
Yes, please.
Councilman Bruno?
No.
Councilman Casio?
No.
We lost one. Okay. We tried.
Sometimes
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
No.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your few minutes of extra time.
Then, if the state extends the deadline, we may have to take advantage of that again next year.
Well, they extend it every year.
They do, but we were hoping to not to.
That's not the issue.
I don't think that will happen. You know, the new CFO seems very, very capable.
Yeah.
When she came in for her interview, and I think she'll have no problem closing out 18 and getting on 19 within a reasonable amount of time. I think it'll happen.
Okay. Moving on, current business on the conference agenda.
Just before we go past that, can we make an adjustment to leave that off but vote on the other transfers? Because I believe, Sue, you need the election money and the other things on here. Would that be something minor that we can remove? And
Gentlemen, before we proceed, the mayor has asked that we review 18-351 again and just remove the financial services fees from that and approve the rest of the changes.
I'd be amenable to that.
Gentlemen, on that other side of the dais, are you amenable to that?
That's fine.
Can I have a motion to introduce 18-351, authorize 2018 transfer of appropriations with the deduction of financial services fees, $15,000 in, $15,000 out, and the rest will remain for a total of $6,000 and $6,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
No.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
Under administration, the project tracker, Mr. Tova, would you be able to present the project tracker to us tonight?
No, as a matter of fact, I was going to ask if council would be okay with the tracker being presented to council at the second meeting of every month, except during project season where it would be every council meeting.
Mr. Bruno, any objection to that?
I'm sorry, say again, Bob, what do you want to do?
The second meeting of every month, the tracker will be presented, except during our project season, and then I'll present it at every meeting.
And the definition of project season is?
I would say from April through October.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that? Mr. Ullman, you okay?
Sounds good to me.
Mr. Cumming?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bruno, Dr. Cassi?
Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. Tova.
A very amenable person.
Mr. Tova, you had best practices fiscal year 2018, 2019?
I did have, I'm sorry.
Oh,
May
sorry.
I? Just, although you're not presenting the project tracker,
Voted on everything tonight.
the mayor mentioned that the paving was completed, and we had requested that the DMF yard be done. I was just wondering if that is on the radar, if there is monies left over from the current 2018 roads program that could be used, and if there's a plan to do it.
I just received the info I needed from Mr. Azzolino's office on Friday. Part of that information will tell me what we have left to do that project.
Okay.
So I hope to have an answer for you by the 17th.
Okay, I know there was concern that it would be a throwaway because we do have to remediate the site, but I think the yard is in a state where
It's deplorable.
the monies would be well spent even if we get a year out of it.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Understood.
Thank you.
Mr. Tova, can you ask Mr. Azzolino when the bicycle safe grates and the eco-friendly eco heads will be installed on all our catch basins of our newly paved streets?
I can.
It's embarrassing. We were done almost a month and a half ago, and they're still not replaced.
And there's one by your corner. That's still not done.
No, none of them are done. Even on Woodfield, they're not done yet. Mr. Tova, you had asked best practices fiscal year 2018-2019 be added to the administration part of the agenda?
Yeah, I apologize. It did not go out with the packet, so therefore there's no point in discussing it. We can hold it until the next
17th?
meeting this month, yes.
Okay. 2019 professionals pay to play documents for reorg. Sue Witkowski had asked for that to be put on.
Just the point that, Mr. Mayor, if there's anybody new or anything that I need to reach out to. So if you could just give me a list of professionals you plan on doing for 2019, I can request the pay to play.
Okay, sure.
And have it in place.
Great, thank
before we
you.
vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under business for the council, ordinances and legislation, the prohibition of the sale of marijuana continuation. Gentlemen, you received the Upper Saddle River, the report from Lieutenant Calamari from the police department. Are we okay with asking Mr. Pollard to prepare an ordinance based on those two items?
To prepare it, or should we move forward with it?
He's got to prepare something and then
Well, he's got to prepare something, and then we have to have it published, so.
we're discussed.
Well, we have to introduce it and publish it and so forth, and introduce, right, correct, Mr.
Well,
Pollard?
yeah, I mean, bottom line is that the ordinance was, you know, everybody thought it was a pretty good ordinance, pretty much. And the police said that it was a good one. They just made the distinction of trying not to use a manufactured
Correct.
product, and we'll make it more generic. That's number one. Question is, in the Upper Saddle River ordinance, they have a provision in here that the foregoing shall not be construed to limit any privilege or rights of a qualifying patient, primary caregiver, registered or otherwise a registered dispensary pursuant to the medical marijuana thing. So you want that in there? Because I remember there was some talk about not having that in there last time.
What is it?
Dispensary,
A dispensary, we do not want a dispensary.
Okay, so, okay.
we have to strike that.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I thought maybe,
Yeah, that would be the change.
Okay.
And just
And then-
confirm with Lieutenant Calamari that that's also,
Yep.
I believe he has that and is also.
Okay.
And what's the, is there anything grandfathered?
We
So,
don't have it now.
You know, there's nothing now to be grandfathered.
well, there are individuals who, in the town, who sell vaping products. You could go into any,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could go
but-
into a number of stores, you could go into a number of merchants and buy vaping products, you could buy other smoking accessories, you could buy rolling paper. So my question is, what happens when this is passed the next day?
I think that they're not allowed to sell it.
Okay, and who is going to, what's the enforcement body?
The police
Is
department.
this a zoning or a police, a criminal?
This is a zoning.
Oh, it's a zoning?
Yeah, it's a violation of zoning ordinance. This is a regulation, a zoning regulation, so it's a code enforcement.
And I think Lieutenant Calamari talks about overlapping use of products, names, and terms. Are we going to have a specific list of excluded products? So rolling paper, is that an excluded product?
Well, did he say excluded products, or he was talking more about the...
Eliminating the brand name.
The brand name Jewel is what he was concerned with, I thought.
In my experience, that the term of item being regulated or banned, such as e-cigarette or vaping products, should be very well defined. They should be clear and not subject to interpretation. This helps avoid confusion in an ever-changing market where there is overlapping use of products as well as their names and terms. Items used to smoke or introduce nicotine in the body are also commonly used to introduce marijuana and its associated chemicals. These products are mentioned and defined in some ordinance in various definition sections. It is my suggestion that any effort to ban or regulate the sale of these products have well-constructed definitions and avoid use of specific trade or brand names. So again, I'm not saying Easy Rider or Easy Wider. It's been a while for me, but
Bamboo.
It is rolling paper. So what do
I think, well, I'll talk to Lieutenant Calamari. I think his point was the brand name situation.
Yeah, because they have Jewel physically in the ordinance.
That's what he was looking at. He wants it so generically described but he was talking about...
I completely disagree.
Okay.
I think he talks about, in the last paragraph, he talks about Juul versus e-cigarette. In the paragraph above, he is talking about, at least my interpretation, is the tools or the products used. So, again...
Okay, this is...
Ken, can you sit down with Lieutenant Calamari and make sure we address all his concerns?
Okay, but
And for the record, I don't support moving forward with this.
Forgetting about Lieutenant Calamari, I mean, I think it's, well, I'll go over with him anyway, what his recommendations are, what he meant by this provision over here. But he's actually, Mike's raising a different point, though. Brand names is one thing, and generically describing and stuff like that. He's talking about other paraphernalia.
Paraphernalia, and you may have to figure out how to incorporate that in there.
Okay, so the question is that, well, I think really it's a policy question for you, not for him.
It's an overlap, is what you're...
Well, no, I think you have to decide whether you're going to say, no, you can't have, let's take rolling paper. People roll the cigarettes, okay, and they can roll a marijuana cigarette, they can roll a regular cigarette, okay? So you have to decide, as you're sitting up here, do you think that you should exclude rolling paper, even though it might be a crossover product, from a policy point of view? It's your ordinance.
They can buy it somewhere else. They don't need to buy it in Township. That's my...
I'm just saying that's a paraphernalia item, and I think you need to decide that, not anybody else. I also think a pipe, a hookah. I mean, you guys have to decide whether you're going to stop those being sold, even though they may not be associated with the sale of marijuana.
Cigars, I understand the youth of today, not that I would know personally from experience, but they split them open and they refill them, and smoke them. So, flavored cigars.
I think we need to I'm against having any paraphernalia in town also. I don't know what the rest of the council, I know Mike said he's a no.
I am a no.
Mr. Cumming, would you like to add paraphernalia to that too?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
I just would like everything buttoned up so we can know what we're all talking about. So when we say paraphernalia, we know what it means. We have,
Can we discuss that with Lieutenant Calamari and get
I
back
think
to
let's
us?
just button the whole thing
I'll
up.
let him delineate a whole bunch of them.
What he thinks should be included.
Yeah, Right.
So you're okay with adding paraphernalia, Mr. Bruno?
Well, I think we have to get an answer what all of it means. I mean, again, if we're talking rolling papers and you're going to enforce it, you're not going to enforce it, I mean, it's only as good as you enforce what's here, right? So let's get well-defined definitions of what Lieutenant Calamari is looking for.
I'm going to wait for Lieutenant Calamari to give us some more guidance. I don't want to inhibit someone from buying something that they've been purchasing in town forever, but then again, I don't want to make it any easier for the youth of America to destroy their bodies with unwanted paraphernalia. So I gotta see what the recommendation is.
All right.
at this point.
I'm tired of talking about this. Mr. Pollard, can you please have a draft ordinance with Mr. Calamari for the next meeting? I think we've been talking about this for almost 9 months. We promised our citizenry that we'd have something for them. The legislature is on the verge of passing it. We're behind the 8 ball on this, as always. So if we could get this resolved for the December 17th meeting.
Okay, so if you want it by the 17th, so I'm going to ask a question right now. Okay, I'm going to name 2 things. Rolling paper, let's take a vote on rolling paper, whether you want it to be in the ordinance as a prohibition or not. Right now, you got 5 votes.
Yep.
You take it. You don't need Mr. Calamari to tell you to vote one way or the other. Same thing with hookahs. You take the vote now on those 2 things. To at least have, if you want an ordinance, you're going to have address those and not have another discussion. So take a vote on each one of them.
We have a vote for rolling.
When you say, what is a hookah? Is that a pipe?
It's not something you need for your normal recreation in the evenings.
In it and you inhale meats and stuff that are inside the...
Meats?
Yeah. And tobacco, yeah.
It's a water pipe.
It's a water pipe.
It passes the vapor of smoke of whatever's being smoked through bubbles of water and you inhale that.
Yes.
Now.
It's a Middle Eastern culture thing.
It's a Middle Eastern culture thing.
I know that. I just didn't know what I mean, does anybody here have hookah pipes in any of these stores?
Yes. Yes, the stores do have them. And our
yeah.
youth purchase them all the time. I see them walking out of Exxon with them all the time.
You're a commercial for Exxon.
I am not. I'm very upset with them.
My feeling right now is complete prohibition, and then if we always want to bring stuff back in, we can bring it in at a later time.
I'm a yes to adding both to the ordinance. Dr. Cassie, you're a yes to both?
Yes.
Sue, can you take a roll call on, Mr. Ullman, you're a no to both?
That is correct.
Mr. Cumming, are you a yes or no to adding both to the prohibition?
I'm a yes.
You're a yes to both? Mr. Bruno,
I'm a yes to add things to the prohibition.
Yes.
I'm okay, as long
You're
as
okay, Mr.
we
Bruno?
figure out how we enforce things.
Okay.
Mr. Paula, you have your marching orders. Moving on. Use of facilities, continuation. Dr. Cassio, Mr. Cumming, do we have any updates on that?
Not at this point. I don't have anything. Art, do you?
Okay.
No, Dr. Cassio has started this afternoon with emails and contacting other towns so that we can have cooperative meetings, and we're working on it.
The strategic planning, once our new CFO starts, I plan on, she's going to attend the meeting. I asked the mayor, we talked about this, she's going to attend the meetings from now on. So I will have Sue forward her the spreadsheets that that I began to prepare for the strategic planning and see what she thinks of what the ban should be removed and what the surplus used, and we'll get an answer hopefully from her.
And can you also tag along with my email with the finances?
Yeah, she's going to get your pages.
Okay, this way she knows what's there.
All right, miscellaneous, shared service, other town continuation. Dr. Cassio, Mr. Cumming, anything today?
No, we're working on contacting other towns and setting up a date. I'm thinking of doing it like once a month at a set date, like the third Thursday or something of the month. And this way all the towns can make arrangements. We're going to do all the surrounding communities. That's my plan. We had that working in past administration until the plug was pulled with the prior mayor for whatever reason. I'd like to reinstitute that, and I have the mayor's blessing at this point, so hopefully we can get some good traction with shared service. Art has a lot of contacts in the county, and I think that's going to be very, very helpful in the future.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to working with Art with that.
The next thing is the zoning board members for 2019. Mr. Toro and Mr. Legrada's terms expire on December 31st of this year. Does anybody have any objection to renominating them to their terms?
I did reach out to both of them, and they are both still willing to serve.
They're both still willing to serve.
Up to you.
I would like to bring them both back on if they're both still willing to serve. I think
Yes.
they do a great
Yes.
job. and,
Mr. Bruno, Mr. Ullman, Mr. Cumming, you okay with that?
You know, we worked with
With
Said.
Said all the time. Said
He was
brings a lot.
great and enthusiastic.
All right,
We're not obligated to post this, right?
To what?
Okay, to post the jobs.
No, they're gonna be renewals.
We did a resolution last year where we put them in with the terms and everything, so I will
Can
have
we
that
just
ready.
prepare
Well,
that?
they're ready for
17th?
reorg?
Yeah, well, they'll be ready for the 17th meeting. 'cause
Oh,
they
the
got-
last meeting, last
Yeah, they have to
meeting
be
of the month.
last
Yeah,
meeting of the
okay,
month
yes.
because they have to be appointed by next
Ken?
year.
Excuse me?
Mr. Pollard?
I'm sorry.
you have a question?
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Zoning board members, the council's in agreement to
Renew.
Mr. Toro, Mr. Legrada.
Okay.
Can they do it the 17th, or should they do it at the reorg?
I would think reorg, right?
I think the reorg, I think, would be the right place to do it.
Well, I know there was a lot of controversy years back with, you know, the appointment of members, so I just want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, reorganization's fine.
Reorg is fine. Suso, we'll get
Just want
that.
to make sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you just let us know when these new terms roll for?
Yeah, the resolution, I have their terms right there. You'll see the other members will have their terms, and then these guys will have them, and we'll have the whole thing.
And we've maintained the tractor?
Staggered.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Sue, you have the floor for the 2019 meeting schedule, please.
Okay. I didn't want to rush on Friday night at 6 o'clock to put a schedule together, so I put one on your, in front of you this evening to consider, please. Since there is no changes with the council going into year 2019, there's no newly elected officials coming on board. There's no real reason locally why we need to do a January 1 or January 2 meeting, so I thought we'd start off with a regular schedule of January 7th, if that's okay with everyone.
Is that amenable to everybody, gentlemen?
But law, you need to rework before, was it the first 10 days count of the year?
10 days.
10 days.
So we do it at the 7th meeting, so we don't all have to miss our families on New Year's Day?
Maybe they want to get rid of us.
Yeah.
I'm good with the 7th. I'm fine.
Mike
Yeah.
Ullman, you okay with that?
Sure.
Mr. Cumming, you okay with that?
Good idea.
Yep.
Mr. Bruno, you okay with that?
Yep.
Right, that takes care of the reorg meeting dates.
Okay, council meeting dates.
Now, well, sign guys,
just one question.
Sorry.
Anyone who is appointed or would be reappointed, their term would go through the 7th before their reappointment is done, or if there's a new appointment?
Would they be a holdover?
Technically, they're not holdover technically. I mean, practically speaking, that's what happens is they function that way. But, I mean, I would have to think what kind of official duty there would be, you know, that
Well, no
would be a
other
problem.
meeting, no other
Yeah.
board meets before then.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think- Yeah.
You guys lead the charge for this.
Yes, zoning and planning meet after us, right?
Mhm.
That's what we check. Council meeting dates, Sue?
Well, the other thing I was going to go back to is the sine die or sign die, however you'd like to pronounce it. Last year, we had done it prior to the reorg. We started, you know, the meeting, let's say at 7 o'clock or 7:30, and then we went right into reorganization. I don't know what we're going to have.
Or we'll just
There
have-
is no second meeting in November, we'll do one.
I would prefer to schedule one and cancel it than not have it.
I mean, that's our transfer month, isn't it?
You want to do the 18th?
No, we're doing it the 6th right now.
You're doing the 6th.
Prefer the 25th if possible, please.
I'll do it the 25th.
Councilman DeSena won't be here, so. Yeah, I'll be busy.
What do you got, like a pass?
It's my Thanksgiving vacation.
Good for you.
We're all going.
More the merrier. Want to do the 18th? Does that work for everybody? Oh, no, that's the league. You're leaving for the league, right?
I've tried to.
Yeah.
It's usually been going down on the.
No, I know.
But it's whatever.
Do the 25th and just call it a day.
We could cancel it if there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, do the 25th as a tentative. And
You can always
No
cancel
worries.
it. can always cancel. It's not a big deal.
And I'm sorry, just, once we're finished with this, I have a question. Not about this.
Are we done with the calendar, gentlemen? Are we okay with that? Yep. Okay. What's your question, Mr. Ullman?
A couple of times we've mentioned that the CFO is not coming in until mid-month, and the appointment states she's the CFO effective November 30th. Is she being paid from November 30th?
No.
Okay.
The appointment date was set prior to us knowing what day she could actually start,
And when is her actual start date?
the 17th of December.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
Gentlemen, Resolution 18-354, closed session for personnel DMF. Do I have a motion to enter into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Okay, so now,
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cummings?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes.
Are we going to go back into public?
We are not going back into public, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We will wait for Ricky to come down and turn off the cameras, and then we will go into closed.